crazy, their politicians are corrupt, their candidates are terrible, and they know they can't win an election day, so they're pursuing an illegal, invalid, and unconstitutional bullshit impeachment.
Welcome to Truman's Town Hall with your host, Matt Truman.
They're gonna put me in the movies. They're gonna make a big star out of me. We'll make a film about a man that's sad and lonely, and all I gotta do is act naturally. Well, I'll bet you I'm gonna be a big star. Might win an Oscar, you can't never tell. The movie's gonna make me a big star, 'cause I can play the part so well. Well, I hope you come to see me in the movies. Then I know that you will plainly see the biggest fool that's ever hit the big time, and all I gotta do is act naturally. We'll make the scene about a man that's sad and lonely, and begging down upon his bended knees. I'll play the part, but I won't need rehearsing. All I'll have to do is act naturally. Well, I'll bet you I'm gonna be a big star. Might win an Oscar, you can't never tell. The movie's gonna make me a big star, 'cause I can play the part so well. Well, I hope you come to see me in the movie. Then I know that you will plainly see the biggest fool that's ever hit the big time, and all I gotta do is act naturally.
Hello, this is Matt Truman. Thank you for downloading this episode. Thank you for sharing with a friend. I hope everybody's doing great out there. What we just listened to, was Buck Owens, the Bakersfield Sound, Buck Owens, with Act Naturally. Buck Owens and Dwight Yoakam, they did a duet called Streets of Bakersfield. Check it out, that's a good one too. Dwight Yoakam played up the Rose Music Center a couple years back. I was there in person because I love country music. I am a hillbilly. Proud of it. Anywho. Oh, old DJT was at the beginning of it too. That was him. Our president, Donald J. Trump, at a local campaign rally, if you will, discussing, the impeachment. No big deal. A lot of stuff happening this week. All the talking heads on the news are talking about impeachment. It's going to happen. It's a done deal. Seal it up, lock it up, send it away. The 45th president of the United States will be impeached. What else will happen? Dun, dun, dun. Stay tuned on the next episode. And here on Truman's Town Hall. No. Yeah, that happened. We pulled troops out of Syria, supposedly. Because we pulled troops out of Syria, Turkey invades, and then they shell an American outpost. So you can't really shell an outpost when you pull troops out. Anyway, they were talking all about, we don't really know what happened, right? We speculate, we hear from quote-unquote sources of what happened. Thankfully, no one was hurt during that. They said that the mortars or the howitzer shells landed about 100 meters away from U.S. troops. That's not good. That's not good, ladies and gentlemen. It really isn't. What else happened this week? Oh, yes. Governor DeWine. He did a press conference. It's on Truman's Town Hall podcast Facebook page. You can scroll down the videos and check that out. That was quite interesting. Just watch it. I'm not going to go into detail on that. Not yet. I will maybe later this weekend. I don't know if I have time. Right? Here it is Saturday. I'm just now doing a podcast because I've been busy. All right. Thursday, I went to the Northeast Metro Republican Club meeting. I was able to hear our at-large representative who's running for re-election speak and discuss his campaign, what he was able to accomplish, and what he's looking forward to getting done in the future. Glenn Otto. So that was good. It was an interesting discussion. There was some questions in between. There was a discussion afterward. It was good. It's an inclusive club. The first meeting I went to, they had a Democrat judge. Then they have a Libertarian councilman. I like that. I look forward to who they have next. So if you see on Facebook that they're having a meeting, just show up. I don't have anything to do with it. I'm just a participant. All right? I talked about this before, but I just registered again to vote in Ohio. But before, I don't know what I was registered as. A Republican, a Democrat, a Libertarian, because I voted for Libertarians and Democrats and Republicans. I am the type of person who, I don't choose sides necessarily or choose parties. I choose ideas. If I agree with your idea or your ideas, I'm going to vote for you. That's it. So what I'm about to play is from the work session this week. It's the financial projection. It's about 45 minutes. If you don't want to listen to it or you don't have time or you want to watch it, it's on hhoh.org, this last Tuesday's work session. And there is they project where the city's finances are going to possibly go. And they're just basically saying we need to make some moves. I think warning council about spending. We can't continue this spending if we're going to trend down. But I'll let you hear all that. I won't analyze it too much. One thing I would like to say is if anybody from city is listening, get this message out. When doing a presentation or a briefing, a lot of the citizens, and I know when staff gives a briefing or a presentation, they're giving it to council. However, there's a lot of folks in the audience watching at home or in the audience there that don't always understand the acronyms. And that's throughout government, you're going to have acronyms. But one of them, and I'll just talk about this real quick. One of them was CPI, Consumer Price Index. A consumer price index measures changes in the price level of a weighted average market basket of consumer goods and services purchased by households. Well, what's a market basket? A market basket or a commodity bundle is a fixed list of items in given proportions. Its most common use is to track the progress of inflation in an economy or specific market. That is, to measure the changes in the value of money over time. So it measures the changes in the value of money over time. So that's, in a very small nutshell, is what that is, CPI. And one that you may get confused with is CIP. CPI, CIP. So see how those acronyms would run into each other. CIP is Capital Improvement Plan. So it's good that the city will discuss that toward the end about a capital improvement plan. Or something along those lines. Tax levies. They discuss tax levies, renewals and things that they're looking into those numbers. So are they looking to continue these renewals? Because there'll be a levy coming up. And if things are the way they are now, I don't know if a levy would pass in this city again, even a renewal. So what will they use police and fire again? And I say use because that's what they would essentially cut, because the largest portion of money, tax dollars that goes out, is to payroll. So they've got to cut somewhere, right? Anywho, I'm going to go ahead and play the financial projection. I want you to listen to it. If you have any questions, email your council members, show up to a meeting and speak. If you want to talk about it, throw a question out on Brick City Town Hall or wherever. We all can talk about it. I just say, do it respectfully. All right? That's how we get things done. Doing it through being kind about it, even if we have to. I don't know. Anyway, I'll quit bloviating, and here is that
next
portion
up is item
of the
3L,
meeting.
which is the city's financial forecast.
Thanks for listening.
Yes, Mr. Chukowski and Jim have a brief presentation to go over. As we discussed, we're going to introduce the concept of the budget. As you know, Council, over the last few years, we've been kind of changing the presentation and the process for establishing the city's budget. And I think this year we will kind of bring that final element into place and actually establishing, for lack of better terms, a financial policy or budgeting policy, along with the budget itself, to plan on and forecast into the future. As we look at, and as you've heard me say, a budget shouldn't be just 12 months of expenditures. That is one component of it, but we need to look at what those expenditures, what the revenues come in to cover those expenditures, and what that 12 months looks like in a long range, a 5-year period, to make sure that what we're doing today is sustainable 5 years from now, and what we do today does affect what we're going to need to do 5 years from now, based on measuring and looking at the trends and the forecasts, etc. Also, we have 6 focus areas regarding some of our strategies and looking at things, and those focus areas are staffing and development, organizational effectiveness, community engagement, financial viability, planning and economic development, and infrastructure. All things that fall within some of the recent priorities and strategies established not only by council, but also through input from the residents and the various strategic plans that we've done, fall pretty much within those six focus areas. With a heavy focus, of course, on planning and economic development. There's a lot of work going on in some of the higher expenditures, and also infrastructure. Infrastructure is a huge thing. We have some areas of our infrastructure that is in great need of repair, is aging. We do not have funding to cover them, let alone maintenance, but replacement and or upkeep of it. And we need to look at ways in the future to identify that, as well as sustaining and maintaining the viability of our operations. So the presentation tonight is not a numbers presentation. It's a philosophy and a trends and a policy type of presentation. Also, you see an actual copy of the budget ordinance, which will be slated for its first reading. Again, not necessarily a numbers discussion. The numbers are there. The numbers certainly will be included and will be incorporated as part of the accounting type of discussion of the budget. But we really want to look at the budget, as we've talked about in the past, as a philosophy, as a policy, and really make sure that we identify and know that these are some of our assumptions going into the actual appropriations, and these are some of the elements that affect those assumptions. So if it's okay, we'll pass it off to Brian and take it away.
Thank you, sir. I don't know whether or not, Mr. City Manager, you noticed I had left some presentations, copies of the presentation, if you would be so kind to pass those to council. So as those are going around, just to kind of touch base in a little more depth, what the City Manager just shared, the draft of the permanent appropriation is before you tonight. You should be receiving your detailed budget as part of the October 22nd work session packet. First reading for the permanent appropriation we would request on the 28th of October, and the final being the 25th of November. So plenty of time to review and discuss. When I came on board, one of the things that the city manager asked me to do was to take a look at the budget and to put together a forecast of what I thought our city's financial future might look like, so that we could advise council with what we thought was the most appropriate and best use of the tax funds that are provided to us by the taxpayers while meeting all of the goals and objectives that the council has set. So this is a very brief presentation. I'm sure you will probably have lots of questions after I'm done sharing with you what I'm going to share with you. And so I think, if anything else, the analogy that I'd like to use for tonight's discussion to break some of this down is that of a pilot flying a plane. Our job is to fly the Huber Heights airplane as far and as long as possible on the fuel that we have, that fuel being the tax dollars